We're back with From the Moon to Mars. Now you science fiction fans can get your turn. Writers, of course, have been fascinated with visions of colonizing Mars for decades. Buzz Aldrin has put many of his theories into a fictional book just published, Encounter with Tiber. And on the phone joining us, author of a trilogy on Mars, Red Mars, Green Mars, and Blue Mars. And he is Kim Stanley Robinson. Hi, Kim.
Hi, David.
Kim, you write about terraforming and how important it is. What is terraforming?
Terraforming is a kind of macro engineering where you go to a planet that has the basic elements necessary, and Mars happens to be an excellent candidate for this, and you add heat and you bring the frozen water that's there up to the surface and create an atmosphere and a surface that would sustain life, earthly life.
Kim, how much of your book would you say is fact, and how much of it is fiction?
Well, my book is fiction entirely, but it's based upon this recent work that's been done by Dr. Zubrin and others in the notion of terraforming, actually applying the mathematics and the physics to the inventory of elements that we now know are on Mars since the Viking missions. And so I have taken that work of the last 20 years and applied it to a scenario of colonization and then later terraforming over the course of about 200 years.
How realistic is it, do you think, for humankind right now to think that in the next, say, 20 years we're going to put human beings on Mars?
Oh, that's very realistic, David. It's doable with technology we have now, so it's just a matter of deciding to do it and then paying for it.
Kim Stanley Robinson, thank you. It is good to have you with us tonight. And I would ask you, Buzz, you know, you've done some writing here. How much do the engineers, the technologists, if you will, the scientists, look to the fiction writers over the years, the Asimovs and now the Kim Stanley Robinsons and others? How much attention have they paid?
I think we've been inspired right from the beginning. Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, all these people that opened up our imagination for us. And Arthur Clarke blended in a realism in his recent writings. I've just gotten through reading 3001. Now that's off into the future quite a bit, but I really think science fiction stimulates the imagination and our creativity.
When we come back, the next generation of astronauts. We thought it might be appropriate to do some unofficial passing of the torch tonight. Joshua Savin is 12 years old. He's already a three-time veteran of space camp, and he dreams about being the first to go to Mars. Joshua, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. How'd you get interested in the space stuff?
Well, when I was 4 1/2, my mom took me to Florida to see the STS-34 shuttle mission of the Atlantis. And I got up early in the morning, I sat for like 3.5 hours, and then I saw it go up, and it was one of the most exciting things that I had ever seen. And
that's when it started.
Yeah, yeah. And then we went back to California, and I saw the same crew land, and I got to meet the crew afterwards.
That's pretty neat.
Uh-huh.
Now, you went to space camp in Alabama?
Yes, 6 times.
What was it like? 6 times?
Yeah.
You're a pro. You could run the place. What was it like? Tell me what you did down there.
Well, mainly they train you they teach you about what it's like to be an astronaut, like about what life is like, and you know, what are some of the things you have to do in terms of the mission. And they teach you a lot of facts. I knew all this trivia and all this stuff when I came home. Mainly, it's a really great time, though. You get to launch model rockets, and they have a simulated shuttle mission at the end, and you get assigned a certain job. I hated my job the first time, but after that, I got a great job.
We've got less than a minute for you to ask a question of either of those two guys on the end.
Okay, to Buzz Aldrin, and to Mr. Schmidt, what course did you take, and what course do you suggest that I take in becoming an astronaut?
I think you have to start out with mathematics and move rapidly to astronautics.
Mm-hmm.
And put in a little geology there. If you're going
Spoken like a true
If you're going to Mars, the profession of note on Mars will be paleontology.
I would suggest also that you study literature and the arts, because it would be wonderful if you went and you were able to talk about the human experience, the emotion in a very, very articulate,
What are you
literate
implying, Valerie?
As Jack Schmidt did recently in an article.
Well, you all have inspired us, all of us, viewers, me included, tonight with this discussion. And goodness knows, Mr. Aldrin and Mr. Schmidt inspired us in their way many years ago in what they did in space. Thank you all very much, all our guests on the phone, here in our house here in California. I thank you all very much. It's been a pleasure. And I hope each and every one of you have found this conversation as provocative and fascinating as I have. Make it a good evening.